Welcome to Healing the World Through Music podcast. I'm Sherry Gross, bringing you conversations, experiences, and explorations on healing music and music for healing. You can find information on healing music events, tours, and trainings, as well as free gifts, music downloads, and all kinds of resources on music for healing at www.healingtheworldthroughmusic.com. Find yourself in a comfy spot and settle in because it's going to be an amazing episode. Thanks for listening. Today's guest is Jan Cercone. Jan provides support, inspiration, and healing for the new paradigm through divine vibration and education. As a former cabaret singer in San Francisco and Las Vegas, Jan began to use the envisioning processes of intention to realize that it is our own thoughts that guide the meaning and receivership of the musical message. This realization led Jan to study and then teach at the Sound and Consciousness Institute in San Francisco, where she worked with students worldwide and dramatically demonstrated healing miracles through the use of safely guided vibrational processes. Jan is an RN, MA, certified music practitioner, a minister, vibrational field and healing specialist, a speaker, divine feminine leader, an author, recording artist, and workshop leader. Healing from the heart of God through sound, science, and spirit. Jan Cercone is a messenger and visionary for the new paradigm. She founded the Solara Center in Point Richmond, California, and is director of Sound and Light Healing Arts for the New World. Jan produces inspirational workshops, opening ceremony talks and meditations, classes, and concerts. She is winner of a National Leadership Award, a Music in the Schools grant, and frequently appears as an expert in the field of applied sound and world sound healing conferences. As a registered nurse, Jan understands the systems and functions of healthcare and uses this expertise with her certified music practitioner training to create hospice programs that bring the profound transitional aspect of music alive to staff and clients. In fact, Jan's work with Alzheimer's clients gave her insight into the role music has with the brain, memory, and cognitive function of consciousness. Jan also delivers the Be the Light program and oversees the sound healing programs delivered by Paramount Booking International. And with that marvelous introduction, I'm so happy to welcome Jan Cercone. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Sherry. So great to hear you. Thank you for asking me to come and talk about sound healing and music today.
Oh, you're welcome. I've been looking forward to this call for a while.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited because I know that you're going to talk with us about how music heals and also about what kind of music is healing. And that you're going to share some special tips for the listener about how they can be a more in tune receiver or provider of healing music, and especially for musicians, that you have some special tips to share for people who may be performing in front of others. And I am really looking forward to hear about that.
Yes, I do. I was just thinking this morning how I've approached music. I began singing at age 12, the Jorgensen Sisters, and then sang in San Francisco, studied singing all my life, sang in Las Vegas. And then I began to learn that the energy behind the music, it's funny, I started out with music, which is a grander expression of tone with rhythm and words. And then I began to see that there were energetic forms behind the music, and that was sound. And so I began studying how does sound heal. And then I went even deeper and looked at the energetic components. And so today I'm going to back up and I'm going to just talk very simply how important it is for musicians and artists to bring forth what is in their heart, that juicy, passionate rhythm and song, and just that stuff that the earth is so needing to drink up right now. So I'm happy to be here and talk about this.
Yeah, well, and that's interesting the way you mentioned that correlation between musicians and bringing forth the joy. That's probably a whole different conversation we can have another time, but somehow isn't a part of the purpose that musicians are here for is to bring joy to people? I mean,
Musicians are bringing, all that is vibration, sound, light, and color. And when a musician gets inspired and he vibrates his body and brings through something original, it actually lights up his or her vibration. And that makes a wave. It makes a vibrational wave out. And Rudolf Steiner, the great philosopher, said it would be the artists and the healers in the years of the 2000s that would ignite the creative imagination for something new for mankind. So my thought is that musicians are needed more now than ever to express. And a lot of the people that I work with, they sing as children, they did music, and then they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they feel like, I will die if I can get that saxophone out of the closet or start singing again. And it's true. You were born to be living and delivering this music, which has a vibrational component that the planet really needs right now.
Wow, yeah, I love that quote that you just mentioned by Rudolf Steiner. That gives me the chills when you said that. It just really was powerful.
We're the shifters. And so all we've been trained that music should be a side thing. My father told me I wanted to be a singer and said, well, look at Judy Garland, look what happened to her. No. Musicians now are bringing forth beautiful, flowing, new ideology and new visions for the new paradigm. So if you're in your music and you're blessed, and it doesn't even matter what music it is, rap, reggae, Hawaiian music, opera, all that matters is that you're resonating and feeling joy and feeling like, I got to do this. That's the only test.
I love that. I can definitely relate to that. So what about, I mean, this is a big topic, but could you kind of break it down to us and for the listeners who may not have a knowledge? Just to ask you a simple question. I'm sure it doesn't have a simple answer, but as easy as possible. How does music heal?
Okay. Well, I've taken a look at this. I've worked with Alzheimer's patients who have completely lost all of their memory. But when music comes in, they feel alive. It's like cranking up a little doll that's lost its life. There is a part of the human being, because we're vibration, that is lit up and connected. And this connection it's beyond words, it's beyond our logic, and I think it's because the energetic forms of the cosmos are harmony of mathematics, and there is a vibrational perfection that is present or not present within every human being in every moment. So, for instance, if a person has anger or grief, if they choose the music that their heart and their mind tells them, I need this music right now, and the person's upset, they might choose rock music. That music goes right into their body, and it helps kind of rock and shift, and it meets their anger. So music heals by coming into the body and soothing, releasing, helping cathartic emotions. It can help us go out of our everyday quagmires by lifting us out into beautiful fantasies, so we can see beautiful new ideas for things. Or think of a small child who's feeling frightened, the environment is not safe. A beautiful lullaby can tell their nervous system, calm down. And what happens is our bodies are made to respond. So if we hear a beautiful rhythm, we actually entrain with our heartbeat and with our breathing, and then the thoughts follow. So music is a very primal way of taking someone who's out of balance, their thoughts, their emotions, even their physical body, and it kind of puts them back into alignment and balance. It's like a bridge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that example that you gave, even about someone putting on the rock music, maybe when they felt like they're in a bad mood or angry, and
Yes.
that could be healing. It doesn't have to be like a special kind of music with chimes or bells and like kind of woo-woo, right?
There's sound for everything, and they have found that for prisoners who are in a very chaotic, agitated state, when they first put into the jail room, if they put on soft music, it makes them more agitated. If they put on heavy, very agitated music that matches the consciousness and the state of people making the music, that person, you can meet them. For me, music takes humans out of separation. When you're connecting resonantly, it's a vibrational connection. That person can find a little bit of semblance of togetherness by hearing that music, and then you can slowly graduate the music. I'll give you another example. I was working with an Alzheimer's patient named Daisy, and she was rocking back and forth, and no one could get her to calm down. So I sat with her rather than singing a lullaby. No, I wanted to meet her energy field where she was at. It's called entrainment. And this is why musicians always attract just the fans that are working with the energy that they are performing, their consciousness, their music, where they're at in their life. That is their fan base. Daisy, I began singing to her, Daisy. I sang that Daisy, that old-fashioned song, in exactly the rhythm of her rocking. She opened her eyes and looked at me, and after about 10 minutes of doing that, she let me in. She held my hand, she cried, she said, don't leave me. So music, properly applied, I became a certified music practitioner, and we learned how to modulate tone, rhythm, volume, in not just dying people, but people who are ill, people who feel disconnected. And music, again, is a bridge into the heart, into the body, into the soul of humans.
I never thought of the whole, everything that way, like you described about meeting the person with where they're at, and so that kind of answers the question I wanted to ask you next. It was, could any genre or type or variety of music actually be healing? And what you're saying is definitely.
Absolutely. I have a friend who gets up in the morning and puts on, to me, god-awful lyrics and loud music, but this gentleman is not quite really in his body. And young people, teenagers who are gawky, they're just going into their body, they need loud vibration, almost the floor rocking. And when you see that car go by and it's so full of vibration, that is helping them say, this is me. I'm in my body, I'm safe. And then the actual music and the wording performs a case of connection, almost like a tribal, like this is my group, this is how we think, this is who we are. And this might be completely incomprehensible to this young man's grandmother or even his girlfriend. That's what each person has a particular resonance field, and they are always calling out and reaching for people, places, and things, in this case, music, to help give them a sense of balance, integration, and more peace. And every culture has its own music, and sometimes the drumming, the shamanic drumming, to help some of these deeper things come out by stilling the mind. There is just no end to the type of music, and so I tell people what works for you. There's some tried and true standards. For instance, the classical music has built into it repetition and types of intervals that seem to be balancing and healing for the human body. For instance, Mozart. bum bum, bum bum, bum 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 bum. This has a stabilizing effect on a person who's, pretty well balanced and kind of upbeat, the fifth and at the first interval. So we can look at music in gross ways. We can look at it at the interval and rhythmic, and then we can look even deeper on how the consciousness of the actual composer or the performer and the delivery in the state of their mind actually determines the whole outcome of the performance or the receivership of the people there at that concert. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, there's so much there. And when you're talking about the teenagers and the thumping in the cars with the audio on the max volume and, so much of the experiences that all of us have had, I'm sure, growing up and through the years in our different phases and stages and styles of music. I mean, I'm sure the listeners, a lot of examples come to mind with them. I have a lot just thinking back now and looking at the way you're explaining it and what was really going on. And that's just fascinating how our musical tastes and perceptions shift over the years too. I guess you're saying that is that we're either drawn to or attracted to the kind of music that matches our vibration, or maybe that's reflected in us somehow. So it sounds like it's connected.
And it's also, a lot of it is unconscious, and a lot of it is that we are wanting to move to the next rung. For instance, the singer I saw the other night, Snatam Kaur, she's a Sikh, I believe, and has a beautiful pure tone voice. That would be absolutely fingernails on the chalkboard for someone who was really struggling and agitated. So we seek the music that is just a tiny bit beyond of where we want to go. So I can tell a lot about where people are in their consciousness and their life. It's all vibration, and there's no judgment, and there's a place for all music throughout the day in the community and in a person's life. So yes, it's not music for everybody, but over the course of a lifetime, I watch and I see as people's choices in music change. It tells a lot about them. They're changing. They're interchanging.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wanted to ask you about, because it came to mind, for example, I'm sure our listeners know people too, or people come to mind. You've got, maybe there's a group of friends that you had in high school or junior high school, or people that you knew from a certain phase in your life, and then you find out in the future or in the present, come in contact with them. And some people that are still listening to the same music they listened to decades ago, right? But other people who may listen to wider repertoire. So,
and they still are pretty much eating the same foods. I call it a frequency band. And they've never really broken out. They're comfortable in that, and that is fine. In general, society in our world is moving to a higher vibration. Everything vortexes. So if people get stuck, you can feel it. It's like a wall. It's like a heaviness. They get stuck in their thought. And again, that's where music can help kind of break that up.
So if people that are listening to the same music, is that sort of a holding them back, or are they holding themselves back, or they maybe just don't feel drawn to something different because they haven't experienced it, or because they are satisfied where they're at and with things that are?
Some people are born into the world just to live a casual, everyday life, and they get a groove. Think of the old record players and how it just goes in the groove, and that works for them. And what they do is, through resonance, they choose other people in their lives that keep that vibrational lifestyle. Food, thoughts, music, and they're like, hey, don't bring anything new in, don't need it, don't want it, not going to go there. And music holds the fabric of that because it's a vibrational tribal community. And a good example of that is I just went to my 40th high school reunion, of course. They played My Girl, talk about my girl. So the fellow who I was dating in 7th and 8th grade found me because that was our song. And so we're dancing, and we're just sitting there pretending we're still those little chemistry-driven, 13 or 14 year olds. And music can transport us and pull us there, but we open our eyes and know we have completely shifted out of that reality. I said before about Alzheimer's patients is that music is so primal that it does take us, our entire beingness and nervous system, into complete worlds of the first time that we experience that music. Interesting.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about, back to the musicians who may be listening that are performing artists, and they're always looking to improve their fan base and have more people come out and hear their music. And a lot of times I think it can be frustrating for musicians and performers, bands that find that people don't want to hear original music because they want to hear something that is familiar, that they know, which kind of ties back to those people who may want to stay in the same groove. So is there some kind of a tip or some insight that you can glean on how musicians could help get people more open and receptive to their music, especially if it's performing original music?
You know, Sherry, that's a very good question, because a lot of bands end up playing cover songs or famous people's songs, and then, of course, that's not original at all. The important thing to know is if you're a musician and you feel what you're bringing forth is worth doing, there is a vibration. There's an arrow of desire which needs to go out into the world. It's a little bit of an uphill, and that, you know, this is the getting going in the music business, is to have the confidence and the consistency to bring forth something and to share it in a way that is not compromised. It is truly you. However, that being said, there's also a resistance to something not tried and true, or someone might hear it and their friend says, well, I don't like that. You are breaking through old thought forms with your new music, especially if the lyrics are really clever and fabulous and new. But look at some of the ones who really break through under the pop scene. In fact, all genres. There's something fresh and there's something new. And know that through the process of all of this, that there were listeners waiting for you to create your niche, and for you to stand in your passion powerfully enough, no excuses, no compromise. Know that your radio signal will reach the people that need to hear your music. The Creator would not have made you in this signature. I call it a signature. Every artist has the signature. And the more true and the more powerful and more passionate in how you look and how you talk, be completely you. So often we feel that we have to go do the solo act, do it all by ourselves. But the minute that you are working with the name act, you begin working with them from that standpoint, you will be pulling in your own fans that resonate with your message and who you are. And that's a law of attraction. That is just the physics behind how everything works in the world.
It makes sense. You've developed something called the sound healing protocol. And I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that and how that may tie into our topic that we're discussing.
All those years I would go on stage and I would get nervous, or I'd focus on the music or who's in the audience. And as I began to just let that joy and beauty of the tones in music carry me away and take me into a space like the zone. I call it divine bliss. When you're standing there and you're doing it and you're singing, it's kind of a sacred space. And it's a space where nobody's thoughts, no being in that audience, you don't care what they think because you're doing it. You're being it. And so as I went from the music, performing the music and worrying what people thought, and kind of just stayed in that zone, I said, what does it take for me to get in this zone? Well, I'll tell you the process of how I came up with the three-point process. I was doing a cabaret show in San Francisco, and I still had a little stage fright, and because I'm easily distracted, and I would have my music stand there with the words on it. And I would get bored sometimes, and I'd look, and I'd say, there's a red sweater, and I started noticing that where my thoughts were guiding what I was doing and the way people received it. I said, wait a minute. It doesn't matter what I'm singing. You know how you go on automatic with the song, and this is the worst thing that can happen to a musician. Done that song 100 times on automatic, thinking about something else. It doesn't do it. So I started playing with the edges of what I call my thoughts and my consciousness. And I said, what if I sang the standard love song? I opened my heart like I loved all people. The way that God might love all people or Mother might love all people. And this sense complete unconditional love. It was like a bath of energy started flowing from me, and I looked at people in the audience, and they just started melting, and they just started smiling, and then they just started clapping, and then they just started signing up for my email list, and how can I hear more of you? And I said, wait a minute. All I did was open my heart and sing this song from what I call a higher place. And you can do any music from a higher place. That doesn't matter. So that's how we developed this 3-point sound healing protocol that Sherry and I made a YouTube for. And so I'll just take you through just the very basics of it. And I told you how I went through that process of all those years of performing and getting distracted and getting bored and moving on to something else. And now every time I stand there, if I use the sound healing protocol, it sends out a vibration that is like a beacon, and it goes to people's hearts, and everything is lifted up. Just the joy and the passion and just the vibration of it. So 3 steps. The first step is I ask an intent to set a sacred space. So you can do this before you go on stage. While you're on stage, you do it in your mind. And after you've done it for a while, it's like an operant conditioning of your body, and you suddenly feel safe and good and solid. Like you've created this foundation. You can just get a picture, like put a pyramid over your body. So everything else that happens is outside. So this sacred space is like where you are asking for a higher vibration to come in to help you just froth up all that juicy music, all that tones, that original lyrics, your story, all that you want to bring forth. So then, oftentimes, people have a picture of higher forces, maybe angels, maybe a deceased grandmother, whatever gives you a sense of that we're not just here in our body. And so again, you're raising to a higher vibration, you're connecting with your spirit self, this energy of spirit, which is so big, so endless. So you take a breath, call in these, I call them guides. And number 3, the most important part, you have all this energy, you set this space, what do you want to do? So when this intention could be, I ask that my songs are received by every person in this audience. I ask that I sing and play from my heart, and I honor the space. I'm in gratitude. These people that came, I hope we make a really hot connection, that everybody's lifted, everybody feels good, everybody shakes their booty, whatever it is. So it's this intention that gives it life. And then you just allow your energy field to absorb, just allow this to come in and be anchored in your body. And I'll tell you, it 100% sparks up everything, and it gets rid of everything that gets in the way. So that's pretty much it.
Wow. So is this something that you're training people to learn how to do, or how could somebody experiment with that?
Okay, good question. I have a healing center here in Point Richmond, the Solara Center. And the people that come, that I work with, are artists and healers who want to get rid of blocks and be more powerful in their space and in their alignment and use these principles. So I work with people one-on-one. I also work with people on Tuesday night sound circles. I go out and I do concerts and events, and I do them with you, Sherry, where we mix music, hands-on healing, fusion, intention. We work with the energetic forms. Sherry and I last year, actually it was last May, we developed a very simple YouTube. It's on the Paramount Booking site. This is the link, www.paramountbooking.com TBI Sound Healing Protocol. I'll say that one more time, paramountbooking.com TBI, Sound Healing Protocol. So that's me telling you how to do this. And then you can go to my website, and I'm just developing 3 keys to getting more fans for your music. I'll give you the link for that, www.sound and light healing arts. 3 keys to getting more fans for your music. And then you go to my website, Sound and Light Healing Arts, and the blogs are over to the right. You can just look it up. It's going to be one of the blogs there. And I have a lot of blogs, How Music Heals, Global Healing through music, and so there's lots of resources there.
Yeah, that's great. That's a lot of resource. I mean, what nice support, to know if you're a musician out there performing, whether you're performing for your own feeling good or in front of others. What a great thing to know that there's support to help you develop along your path as a music maker. So I think that's really great that you're doing that, Jan, and I want to acknowledge you and thank you for doing all that work for us.
Well, it's just like anchoring a potential of a great waves of vibrations, like Sherry and I are talking about these international concerts at the UNESCO sites. And this was our thought was, what if we had a world-class performer setting the space and anchoring in, I call it divine light, call it whatever you want, but their own higher energies coming through and creating this safe space container for all the audience. Just think of the vibrational wave for good, for shift, for movement on this planet. And then to have it broadcast. This is how entire civilizations are shifted. I mean, the marching songs of Adolf Hitler, they created a complete new historical wave in mankind's story. And then the beautiful, sublime soprano voice of John Sutherland, created a huge envelope and opening in the opera world, in the consciousness. We really have to really see that musicians are so powerful, and their intention and their thoughts behind it. So my thought is, let the thoughts go, and let this energy, this heart energy of true vibrational love for this music getting out, it can really shift things.
Yeah, definitely. And how you said it's all vibration. I mean, I could feel the energy flowing, like rushing through me when you're talking about the concerts that we're planning to do at the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and I could hear the shift in your energy and your voice. And it's interesting, through the call, it sounds like you have, is that your bird in the background?
Yes, that's what I was about to say when you said, what's healing sound? Nature. And these little birds, they just talk to me, and they have no thoughts. They're just in their own little world. And nature, that's why I keep these birds here, just to kind of keep me in a sense of a naturalness. Are they chirping a little too loud?
Well, this was what was really interesting, Jan, and I think I know you'll hear it, and the listeners will too. If you go back over this call, I've noticed, and since I'm recording the call, on the areas where your voice gets really filled with emotion and where I can tell that you feel excited and passionate and really happy about what you're talking about, that's when the bird starts chirping, and it matches exactly your phases of really high energy and excitement and that vibration, and it feels like the bird comes in at that high point, and so it's a really interesting dynamic, and I think it's perfect for the call.
Excellent. Excellent. You just gave a perfect example of what I call the energetic field. Everything affects everything. And if a performer is standing on a stage full of passion, all the audience is birds, and they're going to respond.
Yeah, I think it's a miracle.
Well, I think music is our gift. It is our gift to humans to make miracles. And my path was learning through hospice how to use music at the bedside to untie the fear and the grief and allow people's consciousness to leave their bodies in a safe way. But now the musicians here are singing music and vibration to people who aren't going to die or go anywhere, but people who can actually open and balance and live and open to life, open to the natural state in harmony. I really think musicians bring heaven to earth, if you really ask me what it is.
I love that.
Yeah, and they help people embody a little bit of heaven here. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Layer by layer. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Jan, it's been such a great conversation with you today. I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I appreciate you taking the time and the effort to explain this to people and to get others involved in learning about music and how it heals. And I've found it really informative and helpful, and I think our listeners will agree.
Thank you, Sherry. It's always wonderful to talk to you, and I'm just very blessed and in gratitude of the work that you're doing and the project that we are working with as well to bring this higher vibration and inspiration and support to the artists. Your work is so needed right now. Stand in your power, be confident, and be proud. That's my message.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Until we talk again. Farewell.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Oh, isn't that amazing? Thank you so much for joining us today and listening to this episode of Healing the World Through Music. Do check our website for your free tools on healing music and music for healing, including your own healing music blueprint, which is a new exciting offering that you'll find at www.healingtheworldthroughmusic.com. Thank you.